Hi and welcome back. And now in this episode of let's go ahead and clean out our freezer of all the old meat to be able to barbecue with all these nice new barbecue recipes. This is going to be part 2 of this barbecue session. Now, I went ahead and found some pork and turkey that we're going to go ahead and utilize these recipes on. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and marinate the meat, the turkey, and the pork that I found to be able. We're going to barbecue this weekend, and we're going to marinate it in that garlic and olive barbecue simple recipe. I'm going to use that as a marinade. I see that as garlic butter, and that goes on toast. That's my opinion. What I am doing right now is I've thawed all the meat. We're going to go ahead and put it in our bucket. I've got, this is a thigh, a wing, and 2 drums. This one's not quite thawed yet. We'll go ahead and do those anyway, because who doesn't like to, munch on a turkey leg? And this is the pork that I have in my freezer, or some of it, from whenever we were helping out with Hogs for a Cause. I've got some, this looks like just some pieces of pork. There's a lot of fat in this. I may have to cut some of this fat off and render it. But that'll work fabulous for fajita meat or some sort of lettuce wrap. And then I have a leg of pork here that we're going to go ahead and cook on the bone. Get more of that flavor. I'm not going to measure this time. I'm just going to pour this in here. I'm also going to add salt. There wasn't salt added last time, and it kind of needed it. That's about 1/4 cup, but it's all going to rinse off. I'm going to add about 3 spoonfuls of garlic. We're going to go ahead and massage all that in. After I go ahead and massage all this in, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the refrigerator overnight to let it, all this soak into the meat. And to the fridge. Now that it is the next day, let's go ahead and start on these sauces to try out on the meat that's been marinating in the refrigerator for overnight. So one of the first recipe we're going to do this week is labeled barbecue sauce. Most of these are labeled barbecue sauce. It just has a bunch of different other stuff on it. We have 1 medium-sized can of tomatoes. I'm guessing 16 ounce. 2 cups of water, 1 can of tomato paste. This is the first one that's tomato based. 2 dried chili peppers. We can use paprika or chipotle, whatever you wish. 2 tablespoons sugar. 1.5 cups tomato ketchup. So there's a lot of tomatoes in this. 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. 2 teaspoons of chili powder. We'll use 2 different chili powders. Juice of 2 lemons, 1/4 cup vinegar, 2½ teaspoons of salt, 1/4 teaspoon cayenne, so there's 3, 1/4 teaspoon Tabasco, 1 large onion chopped, 1 clove of garlic chopped, 2 bay leaves, 1/2 pound of butter, and 2 teaspoons of dried mustard. So this is a little bit more complex. Combine all ingredients and let simmer over low flame in covered pan for about 30 minutes. Strain through coarse sieve. This sauce can be kept several months in the refrigerator. So this is, it's going to be a sauce because it's going to be strained. If you want it chunky, go ahead and leave it chunky. I like chunky, but this is going to be more of a, it feels like a really spicy tomato sauce to me. That's the way the ingredients read. So let's go ahead and start on this one. Now that we have everything gathered up here, let's go ahead and get everything put together for this barbecue sauce. All right, we are following this recipe to the letter, including the sugar. So if you need to substitute anything, please substitute it. We have, we're putting this on medium-low heat to begin with. We're going to go ahead and melt the butter first. Excuse my hands, I have been playing with the coals on the barbecue. I have washed my hands, it's just charcoal does not like to come off very easily. And yes, it's at 1/2 pound of butter. I'm guessing that you could do a 1/4 cup of butter, 1/4 cup of olive oil in this if you or don't have enough butter, or if you just need something that is non-dairy, go ahead and just use olive oil. One can of tomatoes. Doesn't say if it's whole tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, diced tomatoes. I'm guessing it's to your preference. I am using crushed. Two cups of water. One can of tomato paste. Now I'm using a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. The recipe does not give us any measurements for this. Kind of smush that in and get it to start to break up. It says 2 dried chili peppers. I don't have any chili peppers, so I'm going to use a few, about a tablespoon of diced chipotle peppers in a jar. That's pretty much all I have. And I'm going to add About a spoonful. 1/2 cup of ketchup. I have some of my spicy hot mustard ketchup right here. Okay, 2 tablespoons of sugar. Two teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Two teaspoons of chili powder. I am going to be using the annatto powder. The juice of 2 lemons, so about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. One-quarter cup of wine vinegar. I'm going to be using, it doesn't say if it's red or white wine vinegar, it just says wine vinegar. So I'm guessing this is to your preference. I'm going to be using red wine vinegar. Okay, 2.5 teaspoons of salt. Quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I don't have any cayenne, so we're using paprika. Quarter teaspoon of Tabasco. Okay, Tabasco. If you can get it in the spoon. There we go. Drip, drip, drip. A little bit more. Two teaspoons of black pepper. One onion chopped. One garlic clove chopped. Now y'all know my philosophy on garlic. There are no vampires in my house. So, 2 bay leaves. I'm guessing we're going to need to fish those out. and 2 teaspoons of dried mustard. Like I said, this one's involved, but it actually looks like it's gonna be a decent barbecue sauce. Now, if you want to make this without the butter, you can actually can it in pints for about 15 minutes. Now, with the butter, you're going to want those pints to water bath for 60 minutes. Okay, we're going to let this cover up and come to a very nice rolling boil. Then we're going to go ahead and strain it in a, not a fine mesh strainer, but enough to where we can get like the bay leaves out and all the other chunks that we don't want. Now that this has come up to a boil and everything is melding together, okay, I'm smelling this, and it actually smells like barbecue sauce, but it's a different type of barbecue sauce because we're using that red wine vinegar. Excuse me. Let me go ahead and do a taste test. That's definitely different. That's not a barbecue sauce, but it is a barbecue sauce. It's very tomatoey, but it has like a burgundy type of flavor to it that I actually like. So we'll go ahead and let this simmer a little bit more. Get the onions soft in this, and then we'll go ahead and strain it and put it in a jar. Put it in the refrigerator. Now that we have that simmering, there is another one we're going to start on. It's called Herbed Barbecue Sauce for Lambs. Now, I'm guessing you can use this for pretty much anything. Lamb and mint usually go together very well. It's asking for 12 fresh mint leaves. I'm guessing about a tablespoon if you have it dried. 1 small onion or half. Okay, so 1 small or half of a large onion, 3 cloves of garlic, 2 sprigs of rosemary, and here's the mint leaves, 1/4 cup vinegar, and half a cup of water. Now, it's not saying to simmer this. Okay, this is going to go into a jar, shake it up, and put it in the fridge overnight. Okay, I have our onion. Two sprigs of rosemary. I'm going to go ahead and guess it's about a teaspoon. Okay, and here's some mint that I grew last year. About a tablespoon, kind of crushed up. You want to do this in a bowl, you can. That way you can make sure that you don't have any whole leaves in there. But if you do have some whole leaves, guess what? It will still taste the same. Okay, 3 garlic cloves. About that. 1/4 cup vinegar. It's not telling me what type of vinegar, so we're going to use apple cider. And 1/2 cup of water. And if anybody's wondering why I'm using this type of water, is I distill my own drinking water, because the water here is very mineralistic. It's not asking for any salt or pepper. I'm guessing you're going to go ahead and salt your meat whenever you marinate it. But this stays overnight in the stove, and we're going to go ahead and actually use some of this on the turkey. See what it tastes like. Now this one isn't a barbecue, it is a recipe in the barbecue section. This is salsa, or steak sandwich sauce. I'm going to take pictures of all these for you. Mince 4 large sweet onions, 6 tomatoes, 2 cans of chili, seeded. Season with salt and pepper, 2 tablespoons of wine vinegar, and 1/4 cup of olive oil. Let sit 2 hours before serving. We're going to put this in my wrap. I've got those pork strips out on the barbecue right now with some of the red sauce that we made, and I'm going to go ahead and make like lettuce wrap type tacos. So we're going to go ahead and see what this does. Now, since it's wanting so many onions and tomatoes, we're not going to be able to eat all that within a reasonable period of time, so I'm going to go ahead and half this. I'm only going to use 1 onion, y'all. That's a lot of onion. Maybe 1 tomato. 2 tomato. I'm going to add 1 more. That doesn't look like enough tomato. Okay, and I don't have 2 cans of chilies, and I wasn't too sure how hot the small can chilies are, so I went with something that I know, and I'm doing a few tablespoons of the Hatch chilies. I know this one, and I like the spice on this one. Okay, seasoned with salt, pepper, 2 tablespoons of wine vinegar. We'll go ahead and use the red wine vinegar since I'm here. And up to coat. Salt and pepper. Okay, there we go. Battery death. Okay, salt and pepper to taste. Okay, and olive oil. we will go ahead and let this sit in the fridge for a while until our meat is done. And then we'll make our lettuce wraps. Okay, trying to find the grain here so we can go against it. If you cut it with the grain, what's going to happen is that you're going to get a very chewy piece of meat, because it won't fall apart as easily as if you go against the grain. The grain is these little fibers that you see here. You want to make them, the fibers, short so it falls apart a lot easier. And since we're making lettuce wraps with these, it doesn't matter how small they are. That actually looks really, really good. A few strips of meat, some salsa. Let's see if I can take a bite of this. Sorry, y'all. Had to put that down. That was a big bite. You can definitely taste the tomato and the barbecue sauce. Kind of like a marinade with the meat. Kind of like a marinated with the meat whenever it's cooked, along with the spiciness of the salsa. Works perfectly. Go ahead and try this. This is actually really good. This is pork skirt. You can do it with pork belly or any type of like pork chops. Anything like that. Go ahead and try it. Alright, so what we have here is we have the turkey, nice and barbecued, with this lamb. Here is the pork, the ham with the bone in. This is a pork leg that we got off of wild boar. There is the lettuce wraps. And we have the salsa and a whole bunch of barbecue sauce with the red wine vinegar, which adds a different depth of flavor to this. I highly recommend to try it. It is hot out. I'm going to go ahead and cool off, sit down, and relax for the rest of the day. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time.